Morning, Masters Types. The correspondence I've had has been next to nothing this week. I have had one email from the very wonderful Nick. When I've been looking at this all morning, the light casts a funny sort of light on my tooth there. I think you can see that. There's a funny sort of reflection, and it makes me look like I've got one of them gold teeth. But anyway, I've had one piece of correspondence from the very wonderful Nick, and I'll be back to that in a moment. But apart from that, it's been all silence on the Masters front. So I've taken a little look at the who's been logging in, and everybody's been logging in all right. So that doesn't seem to be a problem. I've not had any panicky emails telling me that bits have fallen off the edge of the course. Chris, the presentation stops working after slide 7. I haven't had any of that either, so I'm just assuming that everything's going okay. There isn't an awful lot for me to say. I am at the moment currently attempting to modernise all my materials, so I'm busy pestering people to sit down and have a conversation with me about their own particular speciality. Not as easy as you'd think, not as easy as you'd think at all. People get all panicky. Even people who are the top ranking clinicians get dead panicky about the idea of putting themselves down, and yet, you get them to come and talk in class, no problem there. Often people rather like that, but sitting down with a voice recorder, that's another matter, and don't speak too soon either, because as soon as this course is over, any of you who perform half well, I'll be coming back to you to see if I can nag you lot into doing it too. So you've all logged in. There's only been one. I noticed that there's only been one attempt at the ECG test. Yeah, and I'm curious as to why that is the case. And that's the wonderful Chris over in Salford. There, you're the only one who's had to go, Chris. Know what I mean? And I know it's tough. I know it's a tough one, but Masters, all that, I got that from a very complex book, So and it draws distinctions which I don't normally draw in class. If somebody can spot that it's an anterior MI, I'm pretty satisfied normally, But that book wants you to separate it off into anterolateral, anteroseptal, anterior wall, so it is kind of complex. It is a difficult one. I do recognise that. I do recognise the fact that it does ask for a lot of. But on the other hand, you can practice it again and again. You can wait, and it's all a matter in the end of pattern recognition. There's not an awful lot of intellectual underpinning to all of that. Once you've got the pattern in your head, you're pretty much home and dry, really. Anyway, I said I'd come back to the points that Nick made. Well, Nick didn't really make many points. All she did was she said, did she have a good idea for doing an essay? And it is, Nick. It is a good idea. The educational support of patients out in the community who don't understand the condition that they've got is of grade 1 importance. There's no two ways about that. But just to throw a spoke in your works, just to sort of pull you up short in your enthusiasm. In this week's, where I've got a folder that's for other stuff. It's not, I can't connect it particularly with any individual lesson. I've put a paper up there, and this is a systematic review of the evidence around reducing sodium in patients who've got heart failure. So don't forget, what we're talking about here is these systematic reviews are commonly regarded as being higher in the hierarchy of evidence than randomized controlled trials. Why is that? Because they gather together randomized controlled trials, yeah, that have previously been quality assured. So you're not just getting the results of one quality assured process, you're getting the results of many quality assured processes. And what the systematic review asks is the evidence all pointing in the right direction? Is it all pointing in the same direction? You know? So, what this systematic review suggests, and it was published in The Heart, this isn't some sort of lunatic fringe conspiracy theorists. What this systematic review suggests is that people with heart failure who rapidly and, radically reduce their sodium levels have a much, and it's about something like 30%, a much higher all-cause mortality. The implications of this are, well, enormous, you know. I've not noticed any major change in the policy that's offered towards patients with heart failure. But if what this paper says is true, yeah, then the implications for lifestyle advice on patients is just beyond belief. It's enormous. It turns our thinking on its head, you know, and you know, and what's more, it would be yet another thing in heart failure where accepted orthodoxy has been turned on its head by evidence. You know, don't give beta blockers to people with heart failure. That was the universally accepted truth when I was a student nurse and when I was in practice. Whatever you do, don't overstrain your heart by attempting too much exercise. Gone as advice. So I've put this paper up. It was published in 2011 in a reputable journal, you know, and there's been murder over it. Yeah. So if one of you wanted to do a paper on nothing else but sodium, tracking back, what was the strength of the evidence that first caused this to become consensus lifestyle advice for people with heart failure? You know, go back that far if you want. And where are we now? I'd be very interested to, and it's grade 1 master's material. Did I mention this last week? If I did, I'm sorry. But I am interested in it as a subject, say. So, fluids as well is another one I'd be interested in seeing an essay on. So, in the absence of anything else, I'll bid you all good day, and for those of you who are there, I'll see you on Facebook.